Maryam was 27 years old. Her med school exams were approaching. At home, there were expectations that she would help more during Ramadan. On social media, Ramadan planners, Khatam-e-Quran challenges, tahajjud routines, everything looked perfect. In the first 7 days of Ramadan, she felt like this would be her best Ramadan. But slowly, her body began to feel tired. On day 10, she missed tahajjud for the first time. On day 11, her Quran target was incomplete. On day 12, she had absolutely no focus in Salah. And then that familiar thought came. Maybe I'm not as strong a Muslim as I thought I was. She didn't tell anyone, but inside, she was breaking. Her guilt became so intense that sometimes she would cry in sujood, but she wouldn't feel peace. She would only feel pressure. Psychology says that when we measure ourselves against unrealistic standards, the brain goes into threat mode. And when the brain is in threat mode, motivation and focus naturally drop. That is exactly what was happening to Maryam. One night, she finally messaged an Islamic life coach, Sakina. "I'm losing Ramadan." Sakina's reply was simple. "You're not losing Ramadan. You're fighting yourself." And that's where healing began. Sakina asked her, "Maryam, what is your first thought of the day?" She said, "How much work is pending?" "That's why your day starts heavy." The next morning, Sakina gave her an experiment. After Fajr, don't pick up your phone. Just sit quietly for 1 minute with your eyes closed and just say, "Oh Allah, I am not perfect today, but I am sincere. Today I will try only for your pleasure." That's it. At first, it felt strange, but after 3 days, she noticed her anxiety level was decreasing. Islam says every action depends on intention. Psychology says when you start your day with intention, the brain enters clarity mode, not panic mode. Now she began to see Ramadan not as a performance, but as a connection.
Maryam's biggest issue was overload. One day, Sakina told her, "You're turning Ramadan into a marathon. Make it a daily walk." So she changed her system. Before, she used to read 1 full juz. Now, she read only 2 pages, but with translation and tafsir. Before, she recited 100 tasbih. Now, she recited 10, but paused each time to feel the meaning. And most importantly, she didn't stop writing goals, but she made them realistic. Research shows that when goals are achievable, the brain releases dopamine, which sustains motivation. Now, Maryam didn't feel like she was failing every day. She felt progress every day. One day, Sakina gave her a challenge. Today, just make 1 sujood longer. Just 1. In that sujood, Maryam placed all her guilt before Allah. She cried, but this time not with pressure, with release. She realized she'd been trying to impress Allah instead of telling Allah her pain. Now she added slow breathing in Salah, a 3-second pause in every ruku, 1 personal sentence in every sujood. While reading Qur'an, she would write 1 question: how does this ayah relate to my life? In Islam, khushu is not just physical stillness, it is emotional presence. Psychology also says mindful worship reduces stress hormones and improves emotional regulation. Now her salah was short, but it was not heavy. Sakina said another difficult thing. You're fasting for Allah, but Allah also gave you a body. What about its rights? Maryam fixed her sleep pattern. Less scrolling, a little more sleep. At suhoor, not just tea and biscuits, but protein and water. After iftar, a 10-minute walk. Surprisingly, this small change drastically improved her mood. Science says dehydration and sleep deprivation directly cause mood swings and low motivation. When the body is stable, the soul also feels stable. She realized mistaking exhaustion for spirituality was wrong. Maryam's biggest silent struggle was comparison. Sakina gave her a simple rule: only 20 minutes of social media. And she encouraged her to connect with real people. Maryam joined a small Qur'an circle. There was a working mother who was struggling. There was a student fighting anxiety. No one was perfect, but everyone was honest. Maryam realized that struggle is common. Islam is a communal religion. Psychology says shared goals strengthen accountability and emotional resilience. Now she no longer felt like she was fighting alone. By day 22, she began to feel a strange peace. It wasn't the emotional high of the first week, but it was grounded. It was stable. On Laylatul Qadr, she didn't overplan. She just kept a sincere dua list and sat in sujood talking to her Lord. She understood something important. Iman is not a straight line. It is a wave. Ramadan is also a wave, and a mid-Ramadan slump is not failure, it is feedback. Feedback says, adjust the system, realign the heart. Now she no longer felt like she was fighting alone. If you are feeling tired right now, if your Ramadan doesn't feel like the first week anymore, maybe your iman hasn't become weak. Maybe you just need to reset your intention, simplify your goals, slow down your worship, let your body rest, and choose community over comparison. Transformation is not loud. It happens slowly. And perhaps Allah also loves the consistency that is not flashy but sincere. Ramadan is not a performance. It is a journey of the heart. And if you became tired in the middle, that doesn't mean the journey is over. It means take a pause, realign, and start walking again. Barakah exists where sincerity exists.